One in five people in the UK believe that their own home is haunted. Now, at the end of when this, I'll tell you what happened to my goddaughter. She and her husband, a young family that they were, bought a house at a very good price. I won't tell you the town, but it's in Kent, around the area of London, England. And they were so thrilled because it was huge, but they had to renovate it. Little did they know that it was haunted. There was a lot of paranormal activity going on, but I'll tell you what happened at the end. Now, one in five people in the UK believe their own home is haunted. A surprising number of Brits believe that there is a ghostly presence in their own home, according to a new poll. Have you ever seen a ghost or had a paranormal experience at home? And I'll tell you my experience too. Now, while it might seem as though only a small minority of people would say yes to this question, the actual number in the UK at least appears to be a lot higher than you might expect. According to a recent survey of 2,000 Brits, 1 in 5 believe their own home to be haunted, while 1 in 20 believe that there is a ghostly presence at their workplace as well. Almost 70% of respondents admitted to believing that ghosts exist, while almost 40% maintained that they had actually experienced something paranormal firsthand. Of those 40%, around half believe that the presence was benevolent. Geographically, the poll revealed that Londoners were the most likely to believe in the paranormal, with 75% claiming that the ghost exists, while in Edinburgh, Scotland, that figure dropped to 47%. 5% of respondents even admitted to moving house to escape the resident spook. I've always found belief in the supernatural interesting, and it's intriguing that so many Brits are believers, with many claiming to have had their own experiences, said C.J. Tudor, author and executive producer of new Paramount Plus TV show The Burning Girls. The idea of things we don't understand or there being something other than this world will always fascinate people and draw them into stories which examine those beliefs, he said. This is from The Mirror on Unexplained Mysteries by T.K. Randall. Now, I'll tell you what happened to me, and then I'll tell you what happened to my goddaughter, who bought that house in Kent. When I started translating in the beginning of my conversion, I was, of course, since a babe, baptized, but I was never, active in the sacraments and reading of the Holy Bible and the Holy Saints' writings. So I decided to translate a book written by St. John Chrysostom, who lived in the 4th century BC, 350, not BC, AD, into English. And that book was called The Devil in Magic. It was about, 150 pages, 120 pages. At that time I translated, there was no Google Translate. I had to sit there with a dictionary translating every single word. But as I was translating this in the quiet of the night, I heard things in the air hissing and snapping and whistling. And I had read about that because, there are demonic entities around us that want us to stop doing things when we're doing things for Christ. And you know what? That book was published even before I ever got to proofread it. It was a book written by St. John Chrysostom, The Devil in Magic, and it was translated to modern Greek from the abbots and the priest monks of New Skete, of the Holy Mount Athos Monastery, New Skete. And I had called them at one point to see how they were doing, and they said that the book sold 6,000 copies, and they were on their 3rd or 4th edition. And I said, how could you do that? I didn't even proofread it. But anyway, a lot of people got, obviously they were interested in that, the devil in magic. And that's why the demonic entities were trying to intimidate me, but that didn't work. Now, my goddaughter and her husband and her little son, he was a man that traveled a lot. He was away half the month. He was going to Asia because he was involved in the hospitality industry, and he had to go and check and, about purchasing and reselling and whatever, remodeling of huge hotel complexes. He was away most of the month. So my daughter-in-law would bring her parents to be with her and her little small son. They bought this house. The top floor was being renovated. There was nothing there. It was all gutted. And they had one small bathroom in the main floor next to the kitchen, which had a little shower and whatever. They took their baths in there. But every night they would hear people running up and down the stairs to towards the first floor, the floor above them. It was like a ground floor and the top floor, and it was huge. The house was huge, and people talking to each other, laughing, running up and down the stairs, and they even heard showers and water running in the bathtub, showers, and there was no water up there. Now, my goddaughter was Christian Orthodox as her husband. I baptized her Christian Orthodox. Her parents were Protestant. And they said, and they were with her when her husband was away, so she wouldn't be alone. And they said, we don't believe in ghosts. And even though they were hearing all this. So what would happen is she would ask the Christian Orthodox priest to come and do the house cleansing. It's a special prayer. And he prays over holy water. That's done in the houses. And it's a cleansing of the house. And things would go back to normal for a couple of days, and then every month she had to call him in. The workmen who were there working on the top floor, the top floor to renovate it, their tool shed was broken into every day, and their tools were strewn all over the place. And they had to look for their tools before they could work. And every time they saw the priest coming at the end, the beginning of every month, they were saying, "Oh, thank goodness you're here. So for a couple of days, we won't have these paranormal events going on." I asked my father confessor, I said, my goddaughter in England is having this problem with her new house that they purchased. Why is this going on? And the thing in England is that there are houses that are very old. Okay, her house was like, 300, 400 years old. I don't know how old it was. Maybe it was another foundation, I don't know. But it was very old. Very strong, very old, but it needed a lot of renovation. And there's a lot of houses like that in the UK, which are quite old. Even churches, medieval churches are beautiful, beautiful buildings. Before Henry VIII, tried tearing all of them down, he put an end to monasticism. A lot of beautiful saints of the British Isles, very strong saints. Now, I noticed that my goddaughter, whenever I was talking to her, I said, because she used to do a lot of work, people would go to her and ask her to pray for them because her prayers were heard. And then they would come back and say thank you to her. Okay? And I said to her, because of your work for Christ, you should be careful to stay in the sacraments and Holy Communion. Unfortunately, because she was away quite far from the church to this, with this house that they bought in Kent, and she was busy with the renovations and her little boy and everything, she wasn't going to church and sacraments that often. And I noticed something in her voice when I said, "Are you taking care of yourself, protecting yourself?" And she says, yeah, everything's fine. Well, it wasn't. She was not telling me the truth. So I asked my father confessor, I said, why do things like this go on in her house? And he said, it's probably because the previous people that lived there dealt with black magic. Tell her to be sinless and not to be afraid of anything. So when I spoke to her priest who had come to Athens for something, to see his mother, his old mother, who was living here, I took him to the airport. I was talking to him. I said, what's going on with my goddaughter? He said, you won't believe what's going on in other old houses in the UK. There was one priest that went to do the holy house cleansing, the blessing of the holy water, and one of these entities started throwing chairs around in the living room, dining room area. He had to go with a bowl of water to continue the prayer under the dining room table, and he wouldn't stop the prayer. And some invisible force was pulling him, trying to drag him out from under the table, to stop him from praying, he was pulling him from his legs. I mean, you can understand what's going on. This is not fantasy. This is actual events going on. So finally they moved away from that house. But this is real stuff, and you have to protect yourselves. We don't know that these entities are around us, but they are. When you feel uneasy and you feel frightened or stressed or anxious, just keep saying, "My dear Lord Jesus Christ, take away this demonic entity which is trying to bother me at this point in time." And of course, keep in the sacraments. So that's the reality of what's going on. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.